bombs in a shopping centre the other day.
I have no idea.
I'm sure I saw something about it, but it's just been completely suppressed.
Right. But then I haven't looked at the news.
Fair enough.
As far as I'm aware, the funerals for the Queen are still happening.
I think that's finally over now.
Right. Got to the point where I felt like they were going to bury her for once for every year she reigned.
It did go on a little bit, but there was a lot to celebrate though.
Absolutely. A life well lived.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's calling it the peak of the monarchy. It's all downhill from here.
That's what they said after Victoria too.
I would after Henry V.
I thought what they said after Henry V was, okay, show's over, get out of the seats.
Yeah, something along those lines. St. Crispin's Day.
So this is new.
It is. This is what I was attempting last week. And you don't do these things last minute.
Now I can see just how well lit your painting space is.
Yeah.
Because it illuminates the rest of the room.
It absolutely does. And I've adjusted that video to try and turn down the amount of return coming back in. I might have to...
paint your walls black.
Yeah. Why not? No, I might have to put an overlay over the back of that foam so that it isn't reflecting quite so badly.
Or you can get a green screen. Then you'd knock it over every single time you shifted your seat position.
What's really good about this now is that you'll see just how many times I smack that camera.
Oh, we see it.
It'd be like an earthquake, and it'd be like, now we know why. So we finished off the crossbowmen from last week. Let's what these guys look like.
I think you need a hat.
For me or for them?
For you.
Why?
Because of the return off your forehead.
I'm going to put my goggles on in a minute. It'll be fine.
Well, that's a hat.
So, probably didn't show in the photos that I put up on Facebook was that they've got nice shield pickles.
Yeah, it only came through on the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones are nice ones.
Yeah. We're done. What we're doing today is Desert Flea Riders.
Ooh.
It's already made a start on the fleas. Here's where we are with them. I think they need when they're dry, they'll need a light dry brush.
Yeah, I imagine they're rather like painting skeletons.
Yeah.
Bone.
These guys have got 4 layers on them now, because I didn't want them just feel like just speed painting. So. Alrighty, get another try out. Put my goggles on. And then proceed to annoy Joe.
Yellow. It was all yellow. Da-da. I don't know how that song goes.
I think you've captured the essence of it.
Yeah.
This is a really pukey yellow.
Is that that's one of the new ones?
It is. Contrast French mustard.
Now you got me thinking about cheese and mustard sandwiches. Gourmand.
How can you do cheese and mustard if you can't do cheese and Vegemite?
Because cheese and mustard is good.
And cheese and Vegemite is not.
Correct.
Oh, the disclaimer on this one. What should beware? For we are fucking weirdos.
Well, yeah. But, you know, if this is your first time out, then welcome. And if it's not the first time out with us, then you already know that.
You're well aware. Well aware. So aside from the good session last night, what was the rest of your week?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Fairly productive by the look of it.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I finished off the Barbarians, which I guess technically this week. I mean, when did I post those photos? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah.
So I had the archers done before the leaders. Wait, I left the leaders to last instead of painting them at the same time as the second unit of archers. And then I couldn't really decide what to do, so I put up that poll in the Fasa Discord.
Yeah.
And Fantastical something won, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So I dug through my boxes and I pulled out a multi-part monster.
Yep.
And I put it together. And I filled all the cracks with putty, so it looks good. And then I proceeded to fill all the cracks with putty for about 3 days.
Right, because the putty shrank.
Not really. Like, it didn't, but I just wasn't happy with the level of filling.
Right.
So I kept building it up and trying to sand it back, and building it up, trying to sand it back. Then, you know, when you don't have sanding tools or files that are small enough to get into some of these cracks, you make a bit of a mess of it with your knife.
So then you have to fill it again.
Yeah. Eventually I got to a point where I was happy with it, and I put 2 coats, maybe 3 coats of primer over it to get it all nice and white and ready for the actual painting, which is what I was going to do last night, but instead I went out with the boys.
Right. Well, it's productive.
Yeah. I mean, he's sitting here on the table, looking at me, ready to go. I've got a... I'm not sure I want to share.
Oh, okay.
Until he's done.
Alright.
But hopefully he'll look good. If it is a he.
Well, you can make up your mind while you're painting it.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the anatomy of the model. I mean, there's plenty of phallic things on it, but none in the right place.
They could just be trophies.
So yeah, I was getting all ready to do that last night. The call came. I'm like, I don't want to go. It's a semi-final. We're probably going to get done. We always get done by the ref.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's just sitting here on the table looking at me like, come on, hurry up, paint me. Which I will probably get a start on this afternoon.
Right.
A couple other things I should do first. Upload next week's episode of the podcast.
Cool.
Get the episode after that finished, or mostly finished. I'm having a hard time with it. The podcast, just not feeling in the mood a lot. Yeah.
It's been running a while.
We've had our 2nd year anniversary. Thank you, listeners, whoever you are. You're probably not here.
Well, to be fair, there's not many people here.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll get back into the swing of it at some point.
Yeah.
So, between all of that and the high levels of pollen in the air that are giving me hay fever and making me sneeze my brains out, that's been my week.
There you go. Well, hang on. I certainly know about the hay fever. Spring or spring.
Most definitely. Yeah, we had jasmine, a lot of jasmine in the area. It's just, thick with the scent of it. But the flowers all died off a couple of days ago, so not as bad. But there's plenty of wattles and other natives around that are still thick and flowering. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of sneezing this week.
I've done a lot of mouth breathing. And not for the usual reasons. How's your week been, then?
Sneezy.
Good, bad, indifferent?
A 3-day working week is nothing to sneeze at. Tish.
Oh, yeah. There was a public holiday this week. Thanks, Albo.
2.
Oh, you get the
We get football.
the wog ball, yeah.
Well, Mexican ball.
Oh, they played up here the other night. Yeah, just refer to anything that's not rugby as wog ball.
Fair enough. You're talking union or league?
Union. Although you could call league, coconut ball.
League is thug ball.
Union is a thug's game played by gentlemen, and league is a gentleman's game played by thugs. Which is weird because it's not really a gentleman's game. It's
I just got the feeling that league was simplified.
It is. It is.
So all the subtlety and nuance has gone out of it till you're left with thugdom.
Controlled thugdom.
Well, I don't know. I've seen some replays. Control's a relative thing.
Union's a lot more scrappy.
Yeah.
There's more, I don't know, more ways a play can go other than just leagues running it up the field. That's something you have to watch out for with your new camera.
Which is?
Not picking your nose on it.
Oh yeah, I'm picking, I'm sniffing, and going on mute to do so.
I know.
Yeah, if I feel the need to hook a Gorby out, I'll, I don't know, go somewhere else.
Duck under the table.
Duck, yeah. Smash my head. So I've replaced the blinding white return off my forehead, blinding white return off a set of white goggles. Wasn't thought through, was it?
I mean, to be fair, we still get you fired when you're hunched over like that.
Yeah.
But who paints looking straight forward? That's not good for the arm. This is why we all have awful posture.
Yep. Back in the previous house, I had a single straight desk that I worked on. And I had it elevated by 100 millimeters, which means the painting surface was here. So it was actually far more upright posture. And it was excellent. However, because of the shape of this area, because it's three desks basically screwed together, there isn't any way of there wasn't any way of effectively elevating all of them, and the computer desk already presents a vertical challenge because of the monitor that's sitting on it.
Wow.
Give it back. Alright, so colour should I paint these turbans? Maybe I'll do skin. We're doing skin, we can consider turban colours. Oh look! I need to replace them. That's what you get when you spend a week painting the polymix.
Yeah, I saw those. They turned out very nicely as well.
They did. Excellent. And that's one box. One full box. One full expansion box, not a starter box. Novel uses of the 3D printer. A little 3D printed ring to keep the paper flat, printing something else at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Well, I would be if my printer hadn't just died again. Looks like I've got a heater bed failure.
Haven't you had a couple of those recently?
Yeah, they were looms. This actually looks, it's a different error. So this actually
Oh.
looks like it's a actual heater in the bed is failed by the look of it.
Well, that can't be good.
Oh, I've got a spare. It's not good. It's $200 and something bucks, but I've got a spare. I'll change it. That's the second time it's failed with that error this morning, so I assume it is a legitimate error and not just a glitch. But we have a problem. One of our cats likes smooth surfaces to pee on. Doesn't like the litter tray. We'll use a litter tray if it's empty, but not if it's got anything in it. But prefers the laundry sink, and if he can get to it, he prefers the inside of the washing machine.
Oy.
So we have to close the washing machine door. It's a front loader. And front loaders, when you do that, at certain times of the year they go gnarly.
Correct.
So I'm printing a guard that will clip into the door. Which camera? That camera. So that's 2 sections of a 6-section door plug that'll just clip in on the door seal, just so we can leave the door open and buggerlucks can't go in there and make a mess. But sadly it looks like I've got to do some work to the printer to get that to happen. I was hoping to have another segment done by the time I finish this live stream, but apparently not.
Oh well.
Like I said, that printer's done a lot of work, so the fact that it's starting to get a little bit unreliable is not really a surprise.
So, what sort of flesh tone are you using here for your goblins?
The wrong one.
Okay.
This is Elven Flesh by Army Painter. I've done all of the rest of the goblins using the pale flesh from the Ralpatha range. But these guys are supposed to be desert flea riders, so I figure they've probably got slightly darker skin.
Fair enough.
Thereby covering my mistake and moving on.
Yeah, well, until you said that last little bit.
I imagine there's just as many natural variations in goblinism as there is in anything else.
Like elves.
Like elves.
No, elves are all 6 foot tall and blonde and blue-eyed and white as the driven snow, and
I know the short ones.
no shatter on elves.
I think Tyler Shaw wrote D&D decided that elves needed to be short.
Because that was probably the scale of the miniatures that Gygax had.
It's possible. So, Gygax and D&D sort of predated Rollparker by a decade, didn't it?
A bit more than that.
I thought,
Gygax was doing his thing in the early 70s.
yeah. I thought the original Rollparker guy was sort of sculpting around sort of 77, 78, 79.
Well, maybe he was. I don't know, of course, because I'm not nearly that old.
No, I am.
I nearly hit publish on this next episode. A week early and without a description. Whoops. I've only done that once before. Published an episode before time meant
Yeah.
for it. That was a 27 that came out when it was in the 10s.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, whoops, minor spoilers.
Spoiler alert. When you reached a blob of water, tiny little bit to put on the tip of the brush, and the water goes, "Hello, Feral." Okay.
And published.
was the desired outcome?
Yeah. Look out for it next week. The second. Speaking of the second, you've got daylight savings coming up on the second, haven't you?
I have.
Ooh. I have to change my alarms now.
That's worse for you, isn't it? By an hour.
It is. Now starting at 7 a.m. Instead of 8, which is,
8's bad enough.
So that's been my late year resolution, is to start getting out of bed at a respectable hour again, because I was getting up at 10 a.m. for a little while there because, nothing better to do, so I just stay in bed where it's nice and warm.
Yep.
The world can't hurt me much.
Yep.
But yeah, 7 a.m. now. I can wake up at 7 a.m. I can wake up at 6 a.m. just fine. I just don't want to get out of bed still.
Right.
I'm still working on it.
I have a love-hate relationship with my bed. I love being in it for a certain amount of time, and then I don't love being in it anymore. Okay.
No, we're all getting old.
Yeah, but it's a sad, sad, sad state of affairs when you can't sleep in 9 hours. Well, can't sleep 9 hours anymore because your body just simply refuses to let you find a comfortable position after 7.5 hours. It gets to the point where you're so damned uncomfortable you just...
Yeah, I've been in that position. Not in the moment, fortunately. I've finally gotten sort of used to the horrible bed that I'm sleeping on.
Yeah. Well, I'm not in a horrible bed. $4,000 mattress or something. But, if I was sleeping in a cheap bed, I'd be getting 3 hours a night.
Not sustainable.
Nope. Oh, and those first 3 steps in the morning. Absolute doozies. I hang on to the bookshelf that's next to the bed. So make those.
Yeah, I always look forward to the sound of my knees and ankle cracking.
Yeah.
My hips hurting. Shouldn't be this sore and tired getting out of bed.
Nope.
I feel like I've just ridden a bloody horse. Yeah.
Well,
I haven't ridden anything.
The lamenting cry of the single man.
Well, it has its ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the ups I would suggest is you only have to put up your own snoring.
Well, I don't snore anymore. Thanks, CPAP therapy.
This is a very good thing.
Yeah, for quite a while I didn't believe that I actually did snore
Right.
because no one told me. I'm like, serious? I don't snore.
And then someone told you.
Wake up every morning with a dry mouth and a sore throat.
Yeah. Which reminds me, it's the 24th today.
It is.
Happy birthday, Phoebes. I'll send you a text message when I remember later.
She watches this little thing, does she?
Unlikely.
Well, note to self then.
Yeah. We didn't discuss turbans.
I was thinking some sort of pale sort of gauze colour, but heavily done over in like Agrax or something, to make them look dirty.
So skeleton bone with an Agrax over the top.
Yeah, that'd work. That's kind of what I did for the turbans on my Dark Elf skirmishes.
So they're not, they're just linen wrap. Very dirty linen wrap.
Dirty linen or gauze. I mean, they're goblins. How likely are they to have nice things?
They're as likely as anybody else.
I've seen the sculpts. They don't look to be the ones on top of material wealth.
Oh, we just haven't sculpted their kings yet.
Oh, that's a point.
The soldiers are always the ones that have to go out and do the dirty work. TM. It's only the human kingdoms that demand that their soldiers fund their own war making. All right. Let's do the back of the shields. There was an achievement yesterday and the day before. I threw out the remains of my Black Templar because it had almost congealed in the bottom of the pot.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
You use most of it and then slow down and stop.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gone through a complete pot of contrast Black Templar. And I'm actually getting really close to this Agoros Dunes. I didn't realise just how much I use of it. I use it a tremendous amount. It's just that excellent balance in between skeleton and the leather.
Grant's here and asks what you're painting.
Desert Flea Riders. Now, if that's fleas in the desert or riders in the desert, I'm not sure. It just says Desert Flea Riders. I'm going to do the eyes on the fleas in a minute. I'm going to paint them like cats.
Cat's eyes.
Yep. I'm going to do the silver on the weaponry and stuff first though. I'm hoping with some luck we get these to secret source stage.
Weird.
What? What? What's weird?
I just jumped into the Facebook publishing backend so I can put up schedule a post for you to be notified of. You're the only person who ever clicks on that bloody Facebook page, I swear to God.
Right.
I mean, the engagement on it is one person, and I know it's you.
Right.
But, it tells me that I've had 21 comments. I'm like, that's unusual.
Yes.
I don't get 21 views. And it's not showing me 21 comments. It's showing me one bloke from a year and a half ago. And it's showing me a couple of times when you've commented, none more recently than February.
Yeah.
It's certainly not 21. And certainly not 21 new ones.
No. It suggests someone got something wrong somewhere.
Bloody Facebook. I mean,
Damn programmers.
this is why I think Elon Musk's lawsuit to not buy Twitter should, he should win it. Because obviously they're feeding back bad information, Twitter and Facebook both, and
Yeah.
Google probably as well, to their ad buyers. It's just crap.
So who's suing who?
Well, Facebook always wants me to buy ads for the podcast.
Yeah, of course
Like-
they do.
Every single time I log on to them, it's the second thing in the feed. It's a post from someone, and then, oh, you could buy this much ad for these bucks. I'm like, no. I'm sick of looking at what you think my ad should look like. Just don't show it to me again. And so every single time I say, don't show me this again, or
Yeah.
don't show me this often, and it's always there. And Grant says that they're suing each other, Twitter and Musk, which
Yeah.
is true, but Musk should win because there's way more than less than 5% spam users on Twitter. The user numbers are shit. Project Veritas is always good for a laugh when they go after the Twitter people. They admit to some crazy things when they think they're not being recorded. Also, their appearances in US Congress inquiries, they're good value as well. For their stonewalling and failing to answer questions in creative ways. Right. And that's the social media bullshit done.
Is it really just anti-social media?
It certainly is antisocial for the effect that it has on society. Look, we got some other person I don't know, XR Douglas Sex. Twitter provided user numbers and methodology to Musk and his people prior to signing, and Musk didn't bother to try to understand it and forewent due diligence. I think the best he can hope for is only paying the penalty amount. I'm not sure about that.
Did he actually purchase it?
No. No, he said, look, the user number information you gave me is crap. You're not answering my questions on how it goes, so I'm not going to pay attention. Someone you know from cyberfame, Mr. Douglas.
Oh, Ryan.
Okay.
Hello. From so many years ago. The company that I left unceremoniously in 2004. Along with a number of other people on the same day.
It was half our lives ago. I barely remember it.
Not quite half mine, but not far off. Oh.
Well, there you go. Now you're popular. Just increased your viewership 300%.
I did. I blame Grant. Grant's obviously talking to Ryan about it.
Mm.
Hang on a sec. Did we mention hay fever?
Great, isn't it?
Fantastic. Figure out whether I'm still in shot or not. Not that
No, you're not.
so many times. God damn.
I mean, you're not really in shot when you paint under the desk, but...
Hiding is hiding, Matty.
No, now we're getting all the old parenting stories about me.
You have to read them out. I can't see them.
Yeah. I remember Dan achieving uber parent level when he brought the 3-year-old and 5-year-old in and bought 1 can of Coke and asked them to share it. And there's references to multiplayer Tetris and Life is Hard and reading novels at desks.
Oh, that guy. Oh, my very first experience with having to sack somebody. Thank you for that reminder.
Oh dear.
Did so well with those kids that they refuse to share anything now.
Makes them competitive.
That's actually probably not true. What's really weird is that they've all turned out to be, well, the 2 eldest have turned out to be miniature painters. I didn't have any hand in that at all.
Thanks, Stranger Things.
We have a lot to blame that for, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. The most benign of which being Kate Bush's resurgence.
Wuthering Heights.
No.
Or was it running up that hill?
I don't know.
I vaguely saw something a couple of weeks ago that said running up that hill had charted again.
Yeah, it is that one. Running up the hill. Yeah, because of that damn TV show. All these kids born after the year 2000 discovering, hey shit, things weren't that bad in the 80s. People didn't ride around on dinosaurs.
Well, they did in Jurassic Park. Well,
That was the 90s.
It was the 90s too, wasn't it? Well, one could argue that Hounds of Love was Kate Bush's peak.
Cloud bursting was always my favourite.
Yeah. Kate Bush in an orange wig and Donald Sullivan.
Grant says, just watched Jurassic Park. They were talking about interactive CD-ROMs being the cutting edge.
Uh-huh.
If that doesn't date you, I don't know what does.
interactive being, open drawer, put CD in closed drawer.
Back in the good old days when they had removable caddies that you had to put the disc into.
That's right.
And then slot it like a toaster.
All of those.
What the hell were they thinking?
All those retractable coffee cup holder jokes. Predate internet memes. My coffee cup holder's broken. Did that one. Alright. Do the agrax on the turbines, what do you think?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Good
So
grief, we haven't had that much conversation in that chat channel for
ever.
My abiding memory of Ryan is that he used to rollerblade everywhere because he liked being fit and he could. And I remember one day he rolled into work and got into the lift at the same time as we did. One of the admin staff looked at him in concern and asked him if he was going to die or not.
Oh, good God, rollerblades.
Inlines, I believe. It was some time ago.
So I was walking down the street on Monday, and it's school holidays up here, like I assume it's school holidays down there.
Wouldn't have a clue.
Well, I know because the next door neighbour kids, they're shit and loud. And if they're there during the day, it's either the weekend or it's school holidays.
School holidays, yeah, fair enough. There's good deductive logic there.
Yeah. Anyway, walking down the street, and I've got my headphones in, not paying attention to the outside world aside from what's in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And these 3 kids come buzzing by on electric scooters and try to buzz me. And I'm like, you guys are 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about 2 foot taller than you. And I'm likely to kick the shit out of you if you try that again.
Mm-hmm.
At least you'd hear roller skates or rollerblades coming. Electric scooters.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah. And how lazy are kids these days anyway that they can't push their own frickin' scooter?
That's called progress, Matty.
I'm not sure it's progress.
Well,
it's just a sign that the world's getting worse.
Retrograde is a direction. I had an amusing moment. It was a few weeks ago, but Willow is highly reactive. She's high drive and highly reactive. And normally when we're walking along the footpath and I see a cyclist coming, I'll get her under control. Like, make her sit and
like any responsible dog owner.
Shorten leash and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'll put her between my legs and just constrain her movement a little bit so she doesn't lunge and snap and snarl and whatever. Anyhow, there was a bunch of kids coming in the other direction on bicycles and they were being, quote, foolish, unquote. And they decided that they were going to buzz me and her by occupying as much of the footpath as they possibly could, coming straight at me at speed. So I didn't bother to get her under control. That gave them a scare.
Fair enough, too.
Mm.
Willow's not exactly small, is she? Reasonable sized dog.
For
a
a border
young
collie,
one.
she's quite a decent size. Not very heavy, only about 20 kilos, but let me tell you, 20 kilos of angry, blue-eyed, snapping, snarling border collie is not what that kid was bargaining on. It's lucky for him I had hold of the other end of the leash, because she pulled up probably about, I don't know, 6 inches from his face, I think. Anyhow,
Well,
I wouldn't normally do it, but they were big tosspots.
yeah. Shit kids being shit.
That's it.
Need their parents to belt some sense into them.
Well, it's already too late. They are the way they are because their parents didn't do that.
Oh, never too late to start belting kids.
Parenting advice. Matty.
Yep.
Parenting of the old school.
Now you got a reason to put the disclaimer on this week.
Absolutely not. Absolutely, yeah. No. The disclaimer on this one will have to be, there is parenting advice in this. We advise that you do your own research before accepting it.
Oh, we got to balance out that bad advice about sharing a can of Coke.
Yeah.
I mean, can you even give your kids Coke anymore?
Well, it can, but child services get involved.
Yeah, that's my point. That's something I want to know. I was talking about it last night. Do we still have orphanages in this country? Or is it just all child services and foster homes?
I do not know. It seems to me that's one of those things where the internet would be your friend.
Yeah, but I don't want to look it up in case it's depressing. And Grant is amazed that we've lasted 60 minutes without needing a disclaimer. That's not true. We started needing a disclaimer.
Yeah, we had the disclaimer out before you joined, Grant.
And then he shows off that he's watched the last one by saying you started with the immortal words, "Any brush lickers here?" Which I recall was true.
That was Clee.
Well, yeah, he doesn't exactly say that you said it. It says your last episode started with the immortal words, "Any brush lickers here?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, I know he watches them. Tells me so.
Yes, and proves it.
He was laughing the other day about Auntie Bob.
Oh dear.
Nothing funny about Auntie Bob. Oh, hay fever's killing me. So I don't know if I've ever said this, but I'm the third youngest of my generation, as in from my family.
Yeah. You've mentioned that most of your cousins and the like were several years older.
Yeah, like at least normally. So this is why, you know, my Uncle Bob lived into his 60s, but he's been gone a long time. Like, I think he died sometime back in the 90s. So, the vast majority of my aunts and uncles, and even the older cousins, are already gone.
I think I'm just going to go and look up bloody orphanages again. Slightly less depressing.
My parents are both dead. What do I do? Put that search in and see what happens.
Knock on the door.
We play that wonderful game of how many searches does it take to have a helicopter hovering over my house?
Oh, where I live's not that far away from a civilian aerodrome.
Yes, but I wasn't talking about civilian ones.
Well, they fly the Medivac helicopters out of there too.
Yeah.
And they've all got cops on board.
I used to live...
I'm sure that they sometimes double up.
Yeah, I used to live 100 metres from the north end of Essendon Airport, which was the main northern flight path out of there, and that's where the police helicopters used to refuel every night, middle of the night. And they didn't shut them down while they were refueling them, so they used to come in, land, refuel them, which took 10 to 20 minutes, and then they'd take off again. And that was every night. It was great today. I was home from work one day, I can't remember why, and I heard this noise, and I went out and stood in the front yard and looked up, and an entire unit of Black Hawks went over. And that was very cool. Sorry, I'm going to sniff again. Hey Matty, have you seen the new June movie?
Yeah.
Newish?
The one that came out end of last year?
Yeah.
Or has there been another one that I've totally missed?
No, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yes, I have seen it. I enjoyed it quite a bit, despite its deviations from the book.
Well, you know, it stayed truer to the book than certainly previous iterations have.
Yes.
Cool Mini or Not did a Kickstarter. Roughly based on the imagery, I would have said. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Well, you've missed it now, so I feel quite safe in talking about it, because I'm then not responsible for you spending money you don't have. But I backed it, as did 11,500 other people.
Almost. 11,449. Fucking hell.
Yes. So, not only am I going to subject you people to watching paint dry, I'm going to subject you to watching me cut bits of cardboard.
Well, that's alright, isn't it?
I don't know. I think because these guys are desert flea riders, they're going to have love hearts. What do you think? Broken love hearts?
I guess I don't get the reference. But, you know, if they fit on the shield.
Can you see what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, I saw him when you got him out,
Yeah.
but I don't get the link between Flea Riders and Broken Love Hearts.
There isn't one. You're just being an idiot.
Oh. Okay, then.
And the question is do I put them on the right way up or upside down? Because upside down broken hearts might say something else.
If you're to put them on rotated 90 degrees one way or the other, I think that would really say something.
It would.
And as long as you're not consistent throughout the unit, they're just all over the place. So you're right.
Yeah, this lamppost here. I don't know if you can see it. No, not quite. Where my sort of finger's pointing. That's the base of one of the lamps that goes overhead. It's clamped to the desk, and it's clamped with one of those normal clamp things. And when I reach, because the bin's down under the desk, when I reach down, I often catch my finger on the clamp handle.
Yeah.
It hurts.
So my question that I was going to ask before you jammed your finger was, tell me if I'm weird. I put the shield decals on after I prime, but before I start doing base colours.
There's nothing weird about that.
Because I'm lousy at cutting them out neatly.
Nothing
And
wrong
getting
with
them to stay that way.
If you need to do like paint correction to the edges of them to get them to blend, which you actually do need to do because these guys have got grey border around them, then there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Good. So I'm not totally crazy.
No. Messed that up. And a bit stuck in my fingers. It's not something we normally do on the live stream, playing Beckers.
No, not at all.
Oh. too close to the edge on that one. So, let it go. Right.
They do flick off and disappear quite easily, unfortunately.
Yeah, the easiest thing in the world to do. Big pair of scissors and a very small piece of paper.
Mm.
Righto. Make a line of water. Flip the decal in.
Interesting way of doing it.
I do sometimes use a dish. The dish looks like this. It had magnets in it, and you know, you can put water in it and whatever, but when they're this small, chasing them round the surface with a pair of tweezers of something that size, that gets old.
What I use is the upturned lid of a small jam jar.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah, well, it's not quite so big, but it's deep enough that you can really drown it.
Yeah. I find that you don't need to drown these ones.
Well, I'm always open to something new. I'll give this a try next time.
The Q-tip, just roll the water out from underneath it.
Well, you're making it look easier than I tend to end up making it.
This is going extremely well. There's no harsh language required at this point. Unlike rigging that sailing ship I did the other day. The neighbours must have wondered who was getting murdered.
That good, eh?
There was pain. Righto. Then we just pick the remnants up. Wipe the surface, Q-tip away. Right. Do eyes on fleas. Okay. Next question in. What is considered the eye? That bit there?
I suppose it's an important thing to know.
That'll do. That does not too bad.
Yeah, I think that's about right. So I googled macrographic photos of fleas, and am regretting it.
Worse than spiders?
No,
No.
I think it's worse than spiders, but they're pretty bad.
Imagine what it would be like riding something like this.
I imagine it would buck a lot.
Imagine it'd be like riding a very large dog or a small horse.
But it tries to jump 50 times its height.
That can leap 100 metres.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know why I put the light away. Fix these shields up. Do that with a slightly bigger brush. I reckon they're ready to sauce, Matty.
Pretty impressive. I mean, considering that it's been 90 minutes, believe it or not.
Yeah, there's only 6 of them.
Yeah, but it's still a 12-figure unit.
Yeah. I did get a head start on the fleas. Hey, talking about painting stuff quickly, I effectively got 120 figures of those Napoleon Oaks done in a day.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. I mean, that, if you can sustain that level, then actually having a couple of thousand figures isn't that big a deal. Oh, that's what I saw during the week. One guy put together a Roman legion using plastic 1/72 scale figures. I don't know which manufacturer made them, whatever, but he had a Roman legion man for man. So 6,000 figures.
Jeez. You're not going to tell me you did it all in a year.
I have no idea. Like, I would have needed to go into to Google Translate to translate the article because it was in Spanish or Italian or something.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been a significant multi-year project. Like the guy that's painted a couple of thousand Chaos Marines. It's like it's been his entire hobby for 20 years, just painting Chaos Space Marines. He hasn't painted anything else, just Chaos Space Marines.
Well, they got some interesting figures in that range.
They do, but they've got some interesting figures in other ranges as well. Gonna have to make some more sauce. I'm nearly out.
Yeah, it's on my next shopping list. More quick shade medium. I ran out of my bottle of it.
Yeah, I did the last time buy of the Agrex Earthshade. I got myself some more of that mixing medium and the dark tones. Strong tone.
Yeah, I'm still going. I've somehow run out of the medium much faster than the tones.
Yeah.
Like, I've got strong tone and soft tone.
Yeah.
Which I use with the medium. I've used the soft tone like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I've still got maybe a sixth of the bottle of strong tone, and I'm all out of the medium.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I'm not sure how I manage that. Just to jump backwards a second.
Mm-hmm.
To that bloke in his Chaos Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And then to jump back even further to the start of the stream when you asked me what I was going to do.
Yes.
I've been looking up painting guides for cornate daemons.
Have you fallen under the evil spell of the evil empire?
No, I haven't.
Right.
Although if I were to get into 40k at this point, it would be probably cornate demons.
Right. They've just released a brand new faction.
They've got themselves another evil chaos god.
I haven't looked into who they are and what they do, but no, it was just gobsmacked that they, out of the blue, well, maybe people that have been keeping up with what Games Workshop have been doing the last couple of years, it didn't come as a surprise, but I looked at it and went, who are these people? Oh, that's a completely new faction. Ah. Who knew?
New Chaos Space Marines for 9th.
They're not, I don't think they're Space Marines, are they? Voltan or something?
This is an older article and it's all rumours. So.
Right. If you go, you can either go to Games Workshop website and look up pre-orders, or you go to Combat Company and look up pre-orders, or Emerald Hoppies, or a bunch of people that have got pre-orders up for it. Actually, it's Saturday, so they might not be pre-orders anymore, but yeah, it's a completely new faction. At least, that's what I was led to believe. Prepared to be wrong.
Leagues of Votan Army, so.
There you go.
They look like Space Marines.
Maybe the Clayton Space Marines.
I mean, they're definitely wearing some sort of power armor.
Right.
They've got bolt guns. They're not terribly chaosy looking.
I don't think they're chaos. You just don't know what they are.
Yeah. Oh, they're humans in power armor
Hmm.
with bolt guns. They seem to have a Terminator analog. They've got hover bikes. The Leagues of Votan have emerged from the depths of the galactic core. To face their armies in battle is to stand before an armored avalanche that crushes all in its path. Blah, 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 blah,
So
blah.
they're not human, but they're bipedal.
Oh, they look bloody human. Imperial sanctioned abhumans. Squats, I think.
Right. Right. So these are the new
Yeah,
squads.
they're squats. They're the new squats.
So it isn't a new faction. It's a resurrected one.
Well, they don't look anything like the squats I remember.
No. Well, we certainly got squats in Necromunda.
Yeah, that's a game I'm surprised is still going. So many of those so-called specialist games just disappeared after a couple of months.
Yeah.
And Necromunda was released 25 years ago or something.
Well, it disappeared a couple of times in the meantime, but
Yeah.
in its current reboot, it's been going 3 or 4. And I think I've propped the company up completely.
So Grant says he loves the squats, and they will be missed. So yeah, new squats.
New squats.
Nothing like the old ones, but, you know.
Squats are dead, like the squats.
How squat can they really be if they're 32mm anyway?
Well, if they weren't squat, maybe they'd be 54.
They do look, substantially fatter than your average human
Mm-hmm.
in 40k.
The inquiring minds would like to know, do they speak with a Scottish accent?
Looking at the words that they use on the army box, it's probably Norwegian or, that sort of Norse mythology.
Right. So we've got a god of hammers.
Probably.
It's the best joke in the entire franchise.
Yeah, don't really care for the Marvel movies. Deadpool aside, and it's not really a Marvel movie.
Should I be dry brushing them with an off-white? Stone. That went well. Let's do that. I knocked something over. I don't know what. That one. Had a fair bit of trouble with these cleaning them up. The section between the back legs here was all filled in,
Flashing.
So,
Hey. Well, it's bound to happen sometime.
yeah. They're very characterful.
All the goblins are.
Yeah. But who would have conceived that you could have had characterful fleas?
I reckon you should mount one of them backwards.
Righto. Pop them off the nails and chuck them on their bases.
Yeah, you'll have those done by the end of the day, unless you're digging up your garden again.
Not doing any digging today. Taking an easy day. It's Joe's daughter's birthday today, as it's one of my daughter's birthdays today.
Weird coincidence.
Baby, well, yeah. Baby, Joe will be babysitting tonight for her daughter. So I have the day to set myself up for some evening entertainment. So I don't know, I'll do something wild and crazy, like, I don't know, paint. Can't really see in the close camera view what I'm doing.
Oh, you got other cameras. Well, that's a thought. Why haven't I thought of that?
Thought of what?
So when I'm putting things on bases, and I use the same nails that I use for the miniatures, and of course it doesn't work so well with the 40x40
No.
base on a 4.5mm nail with a flat head.
No.
So I tend to stick them 2 nails to the base, and that generally does the trick. Why don't I just get some old bottles and use those, you silly man, you? Why didn't I think of that? We've got plenty of old jars and bottles and shit lying around.
So, I got corks. These are corks. You can't tell because they've been painted so many times, but they're literally just cheap wine bottle corks. They refuse to stand up because they got round edges on them. When you put things on them, they just fall over. Right. So that was the first improvement, was putting a base on them. And now they stand up. So they're just 3D printed bases that the cork goes into. Yeah. So that was the first improvement. Nothing sticks to cork. Try and blue tack something to the top of that. It doesn't work. So I made a cap, which is basically the base but without the really wide brim, and because it's ABS plastic, the blue tack sticks to it beautifully. So it's like that was an evolution of an idea. So, oh wow, look, this packet of corks, that's really cheap. I could use those to mount miniatures on them while I paint them. That was a spectacular failure. How do I correct that failure? So I'm just going to pull the super glue off this while they dry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right. Clean the heads of the nails off. Chuck them back in the drawer. They'll be ready to go for whatever I decide to do later on today. I know what I will be doing as soon as this live stream finishes.
Breakfast.
Replacing the print bed on the printer.
Well, I think I'll be starting with another cup of coffee and then breakfast and then...
breakfast was probably a good call. That's those clean. Grab the polyfill.
You're getting through them. You've got 11 minutes for polyfiller.
Right. We should be able to manage that. I will have to go into the dehydrator.
Well, if you've got it, use it.
Absolutely. And I bought it specifically for this. Drying bases. Because otherwise, it could take days.
Ask me how I know.
Because it used to take days.
I wonder who it was who first came up with this polyfiller for basing texture.
Yeah.
Would have been someone in the ancient days, of course.
Yes, I am that old. I don't recall where I got the idea from. I'm not going to claim that it was an original idea, but I don't remember where I got the idea from.
That long ago, eh?
I've been using polyfiller to cover miniature spaces for, well, since I started again, so 2015. You know, it was probably just a case of I had a tube of it lying around and I decided that I needed to build up a base because it had like cracks in it, or like, you know, those workshop slotter bases where the miniatures slot and on a tab and you've got to put it in it, and you inevitably end up with these huge holes at either end of the slot.
Yeah.
It was probably more likely it's like, oh, those are really unsightly, what have I got to fill them in? And I probably would have started with a hobby filler, like, you know, plastic model type filler. I might have even started with green stuff. And then the cheap ass part of me would have been, this is ridiculous, this is going to be really expensive, what have I got along these lines that's really cheap? Oh look, there's some polyfiller. But the making it really wet and pushing it around with a paintbrush and then sticking it in the dehydrator, that's all very new. Like the making it very wet isn't, but then I was drying it in the spray booth because the spray booth's got a 1200 watt heater attached to it. They weren't doing our electricity bills very much good.
No. You'd be better off burning the money.
That's right. You'd probably get more heat value out of them. So yeah, the dehydrators are a fair bit more cost effective from a power consumption perspective. But, that's the other thing. These particular bases, you see how they're black. I actually airbrushed the base coat onto these, whereas I've been going outside and using a rattle can. But, for the little bit of effort that's required to clean the airbrush. And doing it this way is significantly cheaper.
I just find a couple of drops of black primer will do the trick.
Yeah.
And an old brush, and away we go.
Yeah. One of these days, we're going to be in a position to set you up with an airbrush.
Maybe.
And you go, why did I never use this before? This is so good.
Do you remember last week we were talking about the White Knight?
Oh, yeah.
That is basically... Yeah, well, there was a catastrophe involved with those in my youth.
Yeah.
And that is why I don't use sprays anymore.
Yeah.
Because I ain't allowed.
This is a problem. Living with relatives.
Yeah, well, the only reason I can get away with using spray varnish is because it's clear.
Yeah. What did you paint his car?
No, the outdoor setting. Accidentally and only a tiny, tiny little bit.
Yeah, but reaction or out of all proportion.
Yeah. I spent a bit of time stripping it back and then re-oiling it to get it back to its lovely teak finish and just...
And I'm never putting myself through that again.
Basically.
So when you get it wet enough, it pushes around really nicely.
Yeah, I tend to do mine a little bit more wet than yours, so that it's basically just a thin liquid.
Yeah.
And then you can just rotate the base around and it'll run into all the cracks and cover fairly evenly, and the only trick is to stop the build up around the ankles.
Yeah. And get the worst of it off the edge of the base. Hey presto. So, I need to look at the dehydrator.
There you go, time to spare.
$30, 35 degrees.
Typical Brisbane summer day.
Well, that's the thing, living in Melbourne. You need to be able to produce a Melbourne summer's day every day of the year. That's what that machine does best. It'll let go to 75 degrees, but there's no need to cook miniatures. And if they're sitting on a blue tack, 75 degrees is very amusing.
Yeah.
Because you can pull them out, they're not sitting on the blue tack anymore.
It's a good way to ruin blue tack,
It is.
heating it up.
Absolutely.
I used to attach it to my reading lamp in bed.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, stick it on the side of it and
Yeah,
melt it.
no, it's not
As you do when you're a 6-year-old.
yeah. It's not good for. How much time have I got? 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So these guys just need highlighting. So a little bit of silver highlighting, and then eyeballs, teeth, and then I've obviously got to finish the bases of those guys. Once those bases are done, then I just pop them off the pegs and glue them on. And done. So they'll be done today. For sure. Well, there we go.
Speed painting at its fastest.
Speed painting at its fastest. This is what we attempt to do, is to show people that you can get armies painted. Might have to post some army pictures to the Demonworld group.
Your army pictures.
Might have to do some cover spreads or something like that. The participation appears to be dropping off, as in you're putting stuff up which I consider to be very good, and it's getting minimal reaction. 3, 4, 5 likes. There's 110 people in the group. It's like,
well, I typically only get 30 to 40 on a single image, it tells me.
30 to 40 views.
Yeah. So probably half the group's not ever looking at it anyway.
They've probably joined the group and then turned notifications off.
Yeah.
Kind of pointless.
And there's the whole bloody flooding it aspect of things as well. I think that plays a big role in it. I've noticed if I post 2 or 3 things in a week, the first one will go okay.
Yeah, and then the other two
relatively okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens on my Instagram too.
Well, I'm hoping I will get a good reaction from this bugger when I am done with him.
Yeah, I tend to get a little bit more reaction out of monsters. So that blue dragon got a lot more than the individual units do. Like that crossbowman barely raised a blip. So there we go. Thanks for joining. Thanks to Grant and Ryan for having a chat. Good to see you guys. And we'll do this again next week.
For sure.
Alright. See you later.